What up, everybody? Raising Kanan Season 4, Episode 8 starts out with Marvin robbing Quan. Marvin was trying to get Quan to give him the combination to his safe. So if you're in Quan's position in this situation, what do? You don't give him the combination, you're most likely dead. But if you give him the combination, you're most likely dead also. So Marvin killed two more of Quan's men right in front of him and told Quan he would be next. So Quan gave Marvin a combination to his safe, getting me to clue number 1, and that's Marvin found diamonds in Quan's safe. Those diamonds have to be worth a lot of money for Quan to be keeping them like that. So these diamonds could definitely come back into play at some point in time. I'm reminded of the movie Paid in Full and how Ace made a down payment on his new life with diamonds that he got earlier in the movie. Also keeping in mind Mecha's blue diamond ring that brought Noma on the scene in Power Book 2. Marvin had 2 men with him during this robbery. They didn't show these men faces or who they were, but Marvin showed his face to Quan, and Quan said, "You're Rock's brother," before Marvin killed him. So if audio or video was being recorded in some type of way, someone could figure out that Marvin killed Quan. Then it showed Lou and Imani Okoye hooking up, and they're getting closer in their relationship. But Lou's still not opening up to her, and she's trying to push him to. But he did say that he was only messing with Imani and no other females. He also told Imani that he doesn't know how he feels about the whole situation regarding his mother's death. While this was going on, Lou's artist Billa was getting pressed by Kenyatta and Julius about circling back and robbing Lowell Galfin again, basically telling him if he didn't do it, they would kill him. Because of that, Billa was in the studio later in the episode, struggling to record, similar to how Famous was struggling when recording 411. And when Lou stopped to talk to him, Billa told Lou about the whole situation. So Lou stepped to Kenyatta to try to work things out, but it only made things worse because of Lou stepping to Kenyatta like that. Kenyatta planned on killing both Lou and Billa. So later when Lou and Billa were going to the studio, they were arguing about the whole situation, and Billa called Lou soft and sensitive. Notice Lou checked Billa and said he wasn't soft, but he didn't say anything about not being sensitive. Going back to what Joyce was telling Lou about him being fragile. But at this point, Kenyatta and Julius was watching Lou and Billa from around the corner, and I think that Lou saw them from out the corner of his eye. Because at the end of the episode, Billa was waiting outside the building to distract them while Lou came to the side of their car and killed both of them. Getting me to clue number 2, and that's when Lou went to the bookstore. Kenyatta's girl, who works the front desk, heard everything, and she also knows that Kenyatta and Julius were going after Lou. So because of that, we might not have heard the end of this storyline. Then going back to the beginning of the episode, it showed Rock sitting in her car down the street from Unique's tailor shop, watching what was going on, getting me to clue number 3, and that's Rock not only saw Unique going into the tailor shop, but Akbar also. So now Rock knows who Unique is working with. The next morning, Kanan and Jukebox were at Lamont's diner and they discussed 2 things. OC taking Kanan's money and going missing, and how Kanan suspected that OC was working with somebody else, and their continued search for who killed Famous. With Kanan telling Jukebox that he thinks Rock was behind it, and also saying he was going to talk to Snaps and Pop about it to see if they've heard anything. A small detail about this scene was Kanan takes the bill when they're out and pays, obviously because he's the one getting money and he's taking care of his cousin. Jukebox said she would help Kanan look for OC, so she showed up at OC's mother's house, only to meet OC's brother, who tried to force himself on Jukebox before Jukebox gave him a lump on his head because of that, and he finally told Jukebox that they hadn't seen OC for over a week. This is because OC had been hiding out. In this episode, he was waiting for Unique at the tailor shop, only to find out that Unique took all the money from the robbery and he didn't even give OC a cut, because OC was there hoping Unique would give him some money to get out of town. Getting me to clue number 4, and that's that OC said he had a friend in Miami that he could go stay with. But at this time, Unique got the news from Akbar that Quan was dead. And because OC kept pressing him, Unique lost his temper and killed OC. Next week's episode has Lamar Jackson in it, and I definitely wonder if he could potentially be OC's cousin from Miami in town because of OC's death. Because later in the episode, OC's body was found in a dumpster. And when everybody was at OC's mother's at the end of the episode, Kanan was looking at OC's brother because he knows what went down between him and Jukebox. Going back to earlier in the episode, Rock and Marvin met with Hafiz, and he told them that their shipment would be there within a week. But his people had to work extra hard and take more risks to make it happen that fast. Getting me to clue number 5, at the end of the episode, Rock received her shipment from Hafiz, meaning there was a couple days that passed throughout this episode. In next episode, Rock will be ready to flood the streets after receiving her first shipment as the Connect. Getting me to clue number 6, and that's after finding out that the shipment will be coming soon, Rock met up with David from the delivery company, and she said that his crew looked light, and he told her that he had to make some cuts because of their budget, but she had nothing to worry about, that it didn't take a degree from Harvard to drive a truck. But this could definitely be a problem. If David doesn't have things together, Rock won't be able to get her work to the locations she needs them to go to. But because Rock and Unique's playing a game of chess right now, clue number 7 is Unique's next move, and that's attacking the Chinese restaurants that Rock moves her work out of. That's what he told Akbar he was going to do, but Akbar told him Russo didn't want him to start any problems. So Unique went to talk to Russo, and Russo said the same thing, that he doesn't want Unique to start a war with Rock. But at the same time, he wants Unique to give him the same payment, even though Unique doesn't have a plug right now. But Unique will move forward with his plan to attack Rock's organization anyway, keeping in mind one of the clips from the Season 4 teaser shows somebody lighting the Golden Pavilion on fire. While Unique was talking to Akbar and his crew, Detective Garcia came to the tailor shop to see for himself that Unique was still alive. Getting me to clue number 8, and that's Unique is the primary suspect for the murder of his brother and Detective Garcia. Because in addition to Ronnie being Unique's brother, keep in mind that Unique was the primary suspect in Howard getting shot the first time because Kanan wore his jacket, even though Unique did have an alibi. But even though Unique knows Rock was involved in those murders, he still didn't snitch to take the heat off himself, unlike most power characters who would snitch and just use the excuse that they're taking their enemy off the board. One of the reasons why Unique's my favorite power character, because he always keeps it in the streets and never involves law enforcement. But now after Quan's death, Unique doesn't have a plug, so he went to talk to Snaps and Pop, trying to get them to put down with him. Getting me to clue number 9, and that's Unique knew what angle to take with Snaps and Pops, telling them they were only getting a cut of Kanan's work, but none of Rock's. Keeping in mind that Unique most likely knew this because OC was giving him information. Like Kanan told Jukebox, he was going to ask Snaps and Pop to use their police contacts to find out what happened to Famous. Getting me to clue number 10, and that Snaps and Pop were the ones behind Famous getting put down. The cops who killed Famous was dirty cops named Officers Pickett and Wiley. They heard that Famous was snitching and was worried that something might fall back on them, keeping in mind he knew about Ronnie and Snaps and Pop were connected to Ronnie. But during Kanan's conversation with Snaps and Pop, when asking them about Famous, notice Snaps and Pop's dog barked at Kanan at this point. This is because the dog likely sensed that its owner started getting a little nervous when they were asked that question. Then it showed Snaps and Pop meeting with these two cops, and they knew it was Kanan Stark looking for answers from Snaps and Pop, and they said they would find out what he knows or thinks he knows. So after finding out OC was dead, and with Famous being dead and everything going on with Unique, Kanan told Crystal that she needs to get out of town, to go to Connecticut with her grandma or Delaware with her cousin. But at the end of the episode, when Crystal was getting on the bus to Wilmington, those same two cops that work for Snaps and Pop took her off the bus, saying that she needed to be questioned. And an additional clue is that Crystal's last name is Bradley. Rock was trying to figure out who Kanan thinks is behind Famous getting put down this episode. She asked both Crystal and Jukebox, and Crystal wouldn't answer her question, and Jukebox straight up lied to her and said Kanan doesn't suspect anybody in particular, while Rock also lied to Jukebox when Jukebox asked what happened to her grandmother Joyce. This episode, Marvin got confirmation from early Tyler that he was involved in putting down that maid man in Howard Beach, and that he had his cousin Lindell help him. Because of that, at the end of the episode, Marvin killed Lindell because he's known to have a big mouth. Either though Rock wanted Marvin to kill both early Tyler and Lindell. Stefano also told Marvin that when he finds out who killed that maid man in Howard Beach, that person would be wearing concrete shoes. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.